Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Welcome one and all to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. Thank you for choosing to hang with us for the next hour and some change. As always, we talk about what's happening in the world of video games. And of course, I am your host. I rap, I make beats, and I watch anime because I am your Duke of Anime, Thomas. And first and foremost, I also have with me my Nintendo hater that plays all his games on hard mode. Of course, I'm talking about the Duke of Education, Alfredo. How are you, good sir?
That's me. I'm doing great.
I
haven't
understood
played
that
any
reference.
Nintendo games. Yeah, I would hope so. Seeing as how you're literally the host of a gaming podcast.
You can't, I don't know. Maybe not every single video game host will get that reference. I don't know.
We'll see. We got to put him to the test eventually.
Maybe. But how are you doing this week, my good sir?
I'm doing good. Actually spent some time outside touching grass, not only playing video games. So that was nice. Video games are better, but hey, video games are better. But I did some active things. I was rock climbing like a normal person, just doing mountain biking. Yeah, doing IRL stuff. It was nice.
Good shit.
Yeah, what about you?
Been working. Got promoted. Been doing a lot of training. So only have played a couple of video games this week, but I am excited to talk about those video games. And might as well get into it because we've got to ask the age-old gamer question. What have we been playing this week? And I'll start. I've been playing a game that came out in 2022, and I've been playing a game that came out in like 2003.
Okay.
So I'll start with the old game first. So there was a game when I was a kid called Viewtiful Joe, and he used to have commercials on TV. And I always wanted to play this game, but my mom never.
What about it?
It just looked.
I don't know what this game is.
So it's a 2D platformer that has a big emphasis on melee combat. So think something like Castlevania, but the vibe is not Castlevania. The vibe is like zany. Like the game starts with this guy in a movie theater with this girl, and before they get it on, the movie like basically comes to life and pulls her into the movie. And so he has to go and chase her.
Huh. Okay. So I'm guessing that's a really cool concept. Do you get to like go through the movie scenes and stuff like that?
Yeah, and the crazy thing is like it has this slowdown effect that's like it has like a little movie thing to it. So it's like ready, action. And it's like it'll be slowed down and it'll have like the little movie. You know that the thing they have, like it's black and white and it's like action, you know, like it has that thing. And that's like kind of the way you slow things down, like collect those.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, cool concept. Is the game any good though?
It actually is pretty good. It holds up very well. Now I will say I'm playing it on Dolphin. So
emulator.
I'm playing on emulator, right? And I played the game when I was a kid. My friend had it. And I liked it as a kid, but I never owned it. So coming back to it now, being able to play it in its totality, it holds up pretty well for a game that came out in 2003 on GameCube. I mean, obviously I'm playing it in the best way it could possibly look. You know, obviously like it's upscaled. The resolution's at 4K. It's running at 60. So it looks really good from that standpoint. But just the fundamental feel of the game, to me, feels the same as when I played it as a kid and when I saw it on those commercials all those years ago. Because think about all the games you saw have commercials.
Right. It was a different time back then.
It's even back then, I feel like games really didn't have commercials like that.
Oh, okay. I do know what this game is. Okay, I just looked up the artwork. Didn't they remake this game for like 3DS, or they came out with a sequel?
I think it's a sequel. They came out with a sequel. I never. Like
the Wonderful 100 or something like that, right? Because I remember seeing it.
No. The one I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that the studio that made that game, a lot of the people from that studio went on to go on to platinum.
Okay. So they might have reused some assets here and there. Okay.
That because the thing is, the game feels like it was made by Platinum. Like
Not a
it
bad thing.
to me. Like there's parts of you play it Near Automata.
Yeah, of course.
You remember those side scrolling, not sky, like you remember it's like it goes 2D for like those sections. That's
Yeah.
almost how this game just feels.
Okay. I'm very intrigued. Yeah, I didn't know. I definitely seen this character before, but I haven't known about the actual game, so I might have to boot up a Dolphin emulator myself.
I think you should. Like I've had a pretty good time playing this. Like I played through probably like 4 hours worth, and I can rest assured at least it holds up. It wasn't just some, because I feel like a lot of games from that time, it's like at the time I love, but if I boot them up now, it's not going to be that same warm reception. So, but Viewtiful Joe,
Except a game like Shrek 2. That game's always
Shrek
timeless.
2 is actually a pretty solid game. I will not.
Good.
I don't think that's not a bad opinion.
Yeah.
If you want to do a Super Mario, not Super Mario 64 clone, that's the best way to do it, because that game was on that. It wasn't as good as Super Mario or anything like that.
I mean,
okay, Joe. All right, we're done. We're done.
I mean,
we're done.
That's a different conversation.
You're gonna get us canceled. I don't know by who, but you're gonna get us canceled.
I'm just saying, Super Mario 64 didn't have 4-player co-op. Just saying.
Yes, it did. Now on 64, but it did have it on DS.
That does not count.
Yes, it does. It counts for me because I didn't have a DS, and so I had to watch all my friends play Super Mario 64 DS while I'm sitting here on my Game Boy just all sad. Until I got my PSP, and then I stunned it on everybody.
There you go.
And
now you have the opportunity to get a Steam Deck. Look at you now.
Look at me now. But back to PlayStation. Obviously PSP and everything. I played the console exclusive Sifu this week. Now, if memory serves me correctly, this was at minimum like a top 2 game of the year for you, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I forgot where it ranked on your list, but I'm pretty sure it was like second.
I mean, did it came out? It came out this year, right?
Yeah, early this
year. Yeah. I mean, when we did our top, first half of the year, it was up there. It was up there.
Yeah, and it's been on my wish list for a while. But I was not paying full price for it.
It's not a full price game. It's like $40.
I know it, but I'm saying I'm not paying the full price of the full reduced price. And so it's been on my back burner. It's been on my wish list on both Epic Games Store and on PlayStation Network. And I was like, whichever one gets the discount first, I will buy it. And Lord and behold, it was $25 on PlayStation. So I was like, all right, it's time. It's time. Does Xenoblade like that I did this? No, but it is what it is. I'm here now. I just made it to the 4th boss, but I don't think that does justice how much I played this game.
Right.
Because
your mileage may vary in this game.
The one thing I can say about this game, I think that I put this game with, not in terms of quality, because I feel like it varies, but I put it with Returnal and Deathloop as these kind of, it's almost like they made a new genre of 3D AAA roguelikes. And those are the 3 those are Sifu is the latest one, but Returnal and Deathloop from last year, even though they're different, they handle it differently, they all have this run structure to them where you need to beat the game, you need to have a really good run to beat it. Sifu to me is the best out of all 3 in terms of handling that mechanic, because I feel like Returnals is way too punishing and Deathloops is way too easy. I like both, but though if I were to have any criticisms of those 2, it would be that both of them rest on different extremes. Sifu is the most flexible out of those 3 because you learn really early that, okay, it's a hard game, but in terms of progression, I tangibly feel like I'm gaining something every time I'm going through a run. Even if I get to a certain point, let's say I make internal goals for myself where I'm like, I don't want to die on this run through this right. What they call it? Not level, but
it's level.
Is it? I thought it was a
I would
specific
say
name
it's a
for it.
level.
Yeah, let's call it a level for now.
But yeah.
But yeah, like I'll make it a point. Like I'm not gonna die, and if I die, I'm
Restart
going
it.
to restart it. And
Yep.
there's not, and that's the difference between it and Returnal. Where Returnal, if I restart this game, that is what, like an hour
Hours.
gone, and you don't
Maybe,
get.
yeah, maybe an hour and a half.
And let's be real, like you're not really learning anything through Returnal runs. A lot of times
you're
you
getting
die off.
better. I think you are getting better.
A lot of times you die off some bullshit in Returnal.
Sometimes
Like,
you do, but I feel like with Returnal, it's harder to get better at Returnal. But with Returnal, it's more about studying the enemy types and learning, okay, this specific enemy does this or has this move that I need to watch out for. And in Sifu, it's more like, okay, they have different enemies that you have to watch out for, but it's more like mastering the moves, your move set that you have instead of enemies.
Also, it has to do with the combat as well. The combat is very good. Very good. I don't know if I call it the best combat of the year, but it's definitely like in my mind of like a contender for that. Because it is like the evolved form of those Arkham games, even of like Spider-Man. I love, and look, Spider-Man's favorite game of all time. This I feel has better combat than Spider-Man. Because it almost like has those same principles, like it's, you know, very combo based, but the combos are not like they're not Tekken, they're not Street Fighter. It's not like you don't have to remember all of these like up, square, try. Like, you're not doing all of that. And honestly, like there are moves that are locked behind some longer combo chains that I don't even use because they're
nothing crazy though.
Nothing's great. And even the hardest ones, like I think the hardest combo I don't even use.
Yeah, and I think the longest ones are maybe like you're saying, like 5 buttons, but it's not like crazy Tekken moves like you're saying, like these strings of 15 different things that you have to input in order to make perfect. Yeah. But I completely agree.
Yeah, I think I loved how it started. Like I really dug like the first opening cinematic. And as Matt Bliss says, I love the parry system in this game because I feel like that is something that games sometimes struggle to do. This game has a top tier parry system. It has, to me, the progression and allowing you to unlock moves at your own pace, and you can pick which moves you want to unlock based on how much XP you have, and you can like do permanent unlocks of them. You know, like I love that system. What I don't love is how none of that is really explained.
Yes. Yes, like 100%. That's my main gripe of the game as well. As you know, because I've talked extensively about it.
You did. And I do remember you mentioning that. And I'm like, yes, I see exactly what you mean. Like I shouldn't have to watch a YouTube video of 10 things Sifu doesn't tell you. You know,
which is everything in the game.
Because it's one thing when, let's say, like Elden Ring doesn't tell you something. It's like, okay, that's a little different because that's an open world game and you're going to be spending a lot more time in it. So I can forgive that game not revealing everything.
This is an arcade game.
Yeah.
Like you need to know the moves. You need to know the buttons. You need to know what's available to you.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, it adds to the challenge. And this game is a hard game in terms of the combat. Like it's the one game I feel I really never experienced this where I felt like I'm horrible at this game. And then the next day,
something
I'm just mowing through. Like I remember like when it clicked for me was when I faced Sean. That's where the game.
Is he the first boss?
He's the second boss.
Okay.
First boss, I honestly went through. I
was kicking my ass.
I got through him first try like 24. Like I was 24 when I beat him.
Oh wow, that's good on your first try. Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, I'm good at this game. You know, I'm doing good. Then I meet Sean and I age out. I'm like, oh my god, how do I beat this? Like, how do I beat this dude? He's so like. His moves hit so hard, and it's like he moves weird with his fire staff. But then you realize, oh, I haven't been using this entire mechanic in the whole. I haven't been
because it's not explained correctly.
It's not explained.
And what
But
we're
the thing is
talking
that I
about is
discovered it myself though, which honestly like
right.
almost made me forgive it because I'm like, oh, because I discovered when I did the evade, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he can't touch me. And I'm like, what if I hold it down? Oh, he can't touch me at all.
Oh, holding
Okay.
it down. I didn't know about that. But what we're talking
I
about is the
honestly the
evade
second
move.
time I didn't die. Like I went from aging out against him to literally getting through it at like age 24, 25.
I platinum this game, and I had no idea that you could hold this button down. But that's part of the problem. I think we are both saying the same thing. And Matt Bliss in the chat, he mentioned that they do a tutorial for you, which basically shows you all of the different possible moves in Sifu.
I,
But
yeah,
it's not done well at all. It tells you, oh, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this for a very specific instance,
right.
but it doesn't tell you that, oh, this move can actually be used in several other ways or another very specific way that will actually help you a whole lot
Like
more.
that move in particular, the constant evade, that's not taught.
Yeah.
It's taught in a way because whenever you run through the first level, you have to do it again. Like when the first big dude you're introduced to tries to grab you, you can do the evade move to avoid him. But it's not shown that you can just keep doing it to avoid. Like that's not shown. And you can say like, okay, like there has to be some player agency at some point.
Yeah.
But there's so many little things that this game
Right.
does not show. That's like
Right.
all you needed to do was
explain
maybe
a
make
little.
just honestly, all they need to do was make like a little like there's like somewhere that's like tutorials where you can look at all the different ways you can do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I have not seen the Shredder's Revenge.
I have
tutorial.
seen the TMNT Shredder's Revenge tutorial system, and it's not great. It's not great, but I will say that game also it's an arcade game, very much so like Sifu, but it's not trying to be a Dark Souls arcade game, kind of like Sifu is,
Are you
And
saying that TMNT is not trying to be Dark Souls, Alfredo?
I'm just, yeah. I mean, I would say it's not. That game actually is very hard on hard mode. It is very hard, but I just think with Sifu, a little tutorial would go a long way with this game. And I think in the next game, it will be great. But then again, I also platinumed this game and I thought it was amazing once I did figure it out on my own. I thought it was amazing. So, I still love that game.
So you got all the way you did an age 25 run without doing the evade? Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, there's probably a lot of stuff.
I don't know how it even beats. Yeah, I don't even know how it would beat Sean without that evade thing. Because that's literally like I use that and he doesn't land a hit on me. Like
Well, I didn't know about the evade for holding it down. I would be like pressing it very specifically to dodge specific moves. We'll talk later.
We'll talk later about that. But just overall, Sifu, I won't say where it ranks on my game of the year so far, but it's definitely
number one.
Maybe. No, it's definitely inching into that conversation for me. I'm loving this game so far. I cannot wait to see what the last level looks like. But
it's gonna blow your mind.
Wait
till you get. Well, you're on level 4 actually.
Yeah, I just beat what's her name, the museum lady. I hate her.
Oh, I love that.
I hate her. The range of her little like things are wild. And for some reason, the first stage is way harder than the second stage. I don't get it. That first stage, she has that whip thing that like you literally have to either hold L1 or you have to keep tapping L1 to parry. Like I hate her. And then the second stage is just I didn't take any damage in the second stage. I'm like, yo, why is this first stage so hard? Like, it should have been flipped.
For me, actually, it was the opposite. Really? I think it's different for different people, and I think that's what makes the game so great.
Did you know? You remember when she can throw the knives?
Yeah, you just catch them.
Yeah, it's like that was her most dangerous move.
Yeah, you catch them and throw them back, but you have to be perfect. If you don't catch
them, you can dodge the knives too.
Yeah, or you can dodge them. I always catch them though.
Because I dodge I catch it and then I dodge because she throws a second one. So I dodge that. And then when she does that little charge up thing, when you throw the knife, it basically like breaks her like structure.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, we can talk about Sifu all day.
We really could.
Great fucking game. Can't wait to discuss it during Game of the Year talks. But yes. I digress. Alfredo, what have you been playing this week?
I've been playing 2 games on stream, actually. So if you're interested in watching me play these 2 games, maybe head over to our YouTube channel where you can see me play these games. But first game I'm going to talk about is Cult of the Lamb. So this is a top-down 3D. I don't even know how to categorize. It's a part farm sim. It's a cult simulator, one of the best cult simulators, but it's a farm management game / roguelike, kind of, I guess. Basically, the concept is you're trying to grow your cult number, so you're going out trying to find people and save people to join your cult, and then once you get them back to your cult, you give them jobs. You tell them, hey, I want to build this little farm. Can you like take care of watering it? Hey, I want to build this different structure. Can you take care of it? Give people different jobs, accumulate a giant following, maybe sacrifice them or send them along the way. Who knows? It's your cult, so you can do what you want. But that's the gimmick. You're trying to raise a cult, and in between you actually building your structures and building your village, essentially, you are going out and defeating enemies who are enemies of your cult, essentially. But yeah, there's a big overarching story to it. I don't want to give away too much, but if you've ever played something like Moonlighter, it's essentially the same game. If you played Moonlighter and you like that game, you will love this game because it is the same thing, but with more of a village maintenance kind of component to it. So it has fighting, it has farm management, I think it has pretty great humor. It's a great game. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Can't you turn one of your followers into like poop?
You could do anything. I wouldn't say anything. You could do a lot of things. So basically, you can either go really dark with your cult and literally like sacrifice your followers and have your other followers eat them for meat and stuff like that. Or you can be more of a good cult like I am, and you can ascend people to heaven. You can make it so that everything is handled diplomatically. You can be a nice cult leader, basically. That's what mine is. Mine is the happiest cult on earth. It's great.
Of course you are.
Yeah, so if you want to join a cult, do it like me. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about this game. I will say that for Cult of the Lamb, though, I did enjoy Moonlighter a little bit more because Moonlighter has less village maintenance, I guess. And this is very much, I would say 60% village maintenance, maybe even 70. And then the rest, the 30% is you actually going on battles, doing dungeon runs and stuff like that. And the dungeon runs are only like 5 minutes. The rest of your time, you're maintaining your village and growing your cult and stuff. So it depends on which one you like. If you love farm maintenance, you'll probably like this game a lot. Give it a try. I would say it's well worth the $25 price point. So great game. I'm still not done it. I think I'm a little bit over halfway done, but I will happily keep going with it. But highly recommend it. The other game that I've been playing is also a game I've been playing on stream and is available on our YouTube for a Let's Play. But I was actually playing it earlier today, and it's called Tinykin. And it is basically Pikmin, Nintendo's Pikmin, but like, I don't know, an indie version of it. But the concept is you have all of these little Tinykin creatures. Well, actually, let me back up. You are Milo Dane. You are you're a scientist who has a PhD, and you want to do an experiment to go investigate like another planet to see what it's like on there and how the creatures are surviving. Your experiment goes wrong, and you're shrunk down basically to the size of like, I don't know, an ant, and everything is huge. So it's basically like Toy Story. You see big beds, you have like combs acting as bridges. You have like, you go into different worlds or different areas where you find household appliances, and they're huge, and you have to figure out how to use them to get past the level. But at its core, it's a platformer, so you're just trying to run, jump your way across these levels. Very PS2, like 90s, early 2000s style levels, where it's like, oh, you're doing these mini quests where, oh, we have to get these different components, doing a couple different fetch quests, doing a little bit of puzzles to figure out, okay, I need to give this to this person, I need to do this. So if that sounds great, this game is right up your alley. The main concept of this game, though, is the Tinykins, which are basically like Sour Patch Kids. So you're collecting all these Sour Patch Kids essentially with different colors, and the different colors have different powers. So like the pink ones are the swole Tinykins, so they're the strongest and can carry things for you. And then you have like the next one, I don't want to give away too much spoilers, but they all have different powers, and you're basically using those powers to solve your different scenarios and different puzzles. So you'll use the pink ones to carry heavy things and move them to certain places, basically. Don't want to tell you too much about the other ones because they're pretty awesome and I don't want to spoil it. But you're basically going through these giant levels, collecting all of these different Tinykins because you need like multiple of them to be able to accomplish certain goals. So if you're trying to pick up something, you might need like 10. If it's something heavier, you might need 30. So this game is all about a collectathon kind of deal. You're collecting your Tinykins, you're collecting different collectible items. But experience it for yourself. It's available on Xbox Game Pass, and it's a pretty short experience. I believe it's like 6 hours. Highly recommend. It's great. And I'll be playing more of it this week, so stop by.
Stop by indeed. I actually I have a past with Pikmin. Like I played the first one. I wouldn't say it's a positive pass because I remember I had the game. It was one of the games I got like for GameCube that my mom bought, and I was like, I don't like this.
What? So, what was? Honestly, I haven't played Pikmin firsthand. I've seen it, so I compare it to that because it's the same concept where you're collecting these tiny creatures and then using them to solve these different puzzles. But this has a really unique style in compared to Pikmin, which I also really love. Is kind of like Saturday morning cartoons kind of vibe to it. Mm-hmm. That's how the story is kind of as well. So just everything about the vibe I really like.
Good. Well, I am looking forward to seeing your gameplay of this.
Yeah.
I might not play it.
Games, everyone. So
look, if you don't I might not play it, but I will watch the gameplay because I think honestly, I think I've seen gameplay of it before, and I was like, that looks fun to watch, but not exactly fun to play for me.
So. What I didn't mention is you have a skateboard, Thomas, and you can grind.
Oh, so well, I mean, Hawk.
You have a skateboard. It's actually something else because you're tiny, obviously, but you do have that.
A tiny board.
I'm not going to spoil it. Exactly.
A short.
So if that persuades you to play it, there you go.
We'll see.
That didn't sound too confident, but okay.
Well, I know what I might be playing, which we're going to get into our topics. In November, we are going to get the follow-up to 2018's God of War Ragnarok. And we've gotten some gameplay footage that Game Informer, I think they're doing for the whole month, they're doing God of War coverage.
Yep.
I just saw a Rick and Morty ad with God of War. It was fine. It was fine. It was funny. The marketing's ramped up. Did you see the footage? Are you more excited, less excited?
I saw the footage and I don't know. I can't quite place my excitement, I guess, for this because when it was first revealed before this gameplay, right? All we knew, they gave us like a walk around and an introduction to some of the characters like months ago, right?
Yeah.
But when that came out, it looked like more of the same, right? It looked like God of War 2018, which isn't a bad thing, but God of War 2018 was special. I think partly because of the story, but also because it did something new. Like it revitalized the series and it was really well done. I know Thomas doesn't feel the same, but we'll get to that.
I agree with everything you said.
Okay, we'll get
Look,
to it.
we look, just to put on for straight. I think God of War 2018 is a good game.
But
I know, but I think it's a good
notice
game.
how he said good game, not great game, not worthy of like masterpiece type.
I think it has a very good argument to be a great game. Like, would I say it's a great game? If you put a gun to my head, I'll be like, yes, sure.
So
like,
if you are forced, is what you're saying. Good to know. Good to know. But what I'm trying to say is that I expected more of the same from this trailer, and after seeing the trailer, it kind of was to me. It
more of the same.
it looked like more of the same because the combat in God of War 2018 was very good. I loved it. It was super, super fun. And this one kind of looks like how you would expect a sequel to be. Like, okay, it looks like God of War 2018, but there are some improvements there, right? In the gameplay, we see him like using his I forgot what it's called, the
Chains of Olympus.
Yeah, you see him use it as like a grapple hook to like pull him up on top of a ledge and stuff like that. And the combat looks good too. He has like a new shield thing, which they kind of showed off in the trailer as well. So I'm excited to see.
Really? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So it's a different shield than the one in the first game?
Yeah. I don't even remember a shield in the first one, but this one is like magically powered. It like turns red when it's activated in the gameplay. It looks pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I think they'll have like some sort of like different parry system is what I'm guessing. It looks cool. It looks like a sequel for sure. What I'm more, I guess, excited about is, okay, how does the actual story compare to God of War 2018 story? Is it going to live up to the hype? Which I think it will. But at the end of the day, like this gameplay didn't do anything to blow my mind or anything. Because it looks like more of the same. I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. But I think what needs to happen is that I definitely will be doing a playthrough of God of War 2018. So I can better appreciate, I guess, what we've seen in gameplay like this. And when we actually get it in November, be able to better compare the two. But yeah, looks like more of the same. I don't know what I was expecting. Aside from this, more of the same. What about you, though? How do you feel about the gameplay reveal?
Yeah, I liked it. It looked cool. For me, I have been in the camp of I don't want to be the one defending this game, but it seems like I'm the only person that's like, I'm fine with how it looks. Like, I don't think it needs, like, my only thing with this whole entire like duology, I guess it would be, since it's not a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Just make me like Atreus. That's all I want.
What? Why don't you like Atreus?
Atreus sucks. What? What kind of question is that? Atreus sucks. He sucks. He is horrible.
Wait. Okay, did you finish God of War? You did, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, you finished it.
I finished every single God of War game.
Okay, yeah. And you didn't like Atreus because he was bratty? Like, what's the reason? I guess
the thing is, like, I think there's a fine line when you're writing kid characters.
Yeah.
Because kids are very temperamental. And yeah, they're kids who are brats. So it's not really, oh, he's a brat, I don't like him. It's more so he's a brat always for the sake of the plot. And that is annoying. It kept happening where he has his bratty moments specifically when the plot needs him to have his bratty moments, as opposed to it actually feeling like an actual just like, tantrum. I don't know. It just felt weird to me. Like I didn't like his characterization throughout the whole story.
I think well, I was gonna say I think you will like him better in this one because he's a teenager, but now I think because he's a teenager, it's gonna have more moments like that. Actually,
no, but I don't mind it. I feel like I might like it better because now that I know spoilers for God of War 2018. Sorry, we're talking about the sequel. I gotta talk about spoilers. Since he's Loki, that changes the dynamic for when he's older and he's acting like that. I'm like, okay, what I know about Loki, that makes sense. So I think I'm more willing to accept it. Him as a teenager, he's gonna have a lot more agency in the story. I just hope that they write him well. I feel like the written dialogue that he had in the game, in the first game, I didn't like either.
Okay. I mean, I always gave him a pass because he's a child, or like he's a
No,
child character.
but when we're comparing him to, let's say, Ellie.
Yeah, but Ellie's older.
Is she? Is she that much
part
older?
one.
She might have 2 years on him, Alfredo. Like
I feel like that 2 years is enough because when we meet Ellie, she's 13.
She's bratty too.
14,
she can be she can be just as bratty as he is.
I wouldn't say just as bratty, but I get your point. I get your point.
But to me, Ellie is, in terms of video games, the gold standard on how to write a kid character. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Atreus falls into that at all. Now, I thought the world building of the first game was really good. Mm-hmm. And I'm very curious as to what direction they're going to go in, because now Freya is on the opposite side. That's a problem. You're going to be going against Thor. You're going to be going against not Thor. I'm sorry. You're going to be going. Is it Thor? Yeah, you're going against Thor.
Thor.
And you're going against Odin. So I like that, and I like that we're going to be open to the other realms. They've made it clear that you're going to be visiting all the realms, which is that was a big problem I had with the first one. Like, why the fuck are we not going to all the realms? Why would you tease all the realms and then we're not going to go to all the realms?
That's fair. Yeah. I thought it was a little weird too, but
like you reveal this cool looking portal.
And you go to some of them too. You do go to some of them.
And the thing, if I remember correctly, like some of them are seen in the menu and you can't go to them.
Yep, they are. They're in the menu. It's just locked, basically.
Yeah, I'm like, why would you even put that? It's just little things like that where I'm like, and just going off my critiques on the first one, that I didn't like, and then I didn't like the menu system. I didn't like the upgrade, how you do upgrades, how you because you have to spend a lot of time in that menu, with your different runes and everything. I didn't like how that worked at all.
I really enjoyed it, actually.
I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
Maybe you should have played this game, Tom. Because I do feel like, based on what we've seen, it's going to be more of the same so far. But then again, we will be, like you said, getting an entire month of coverage from Game Informer. So there are going to be story details, which I'm not sure if you care or are invested in the story as much to see it through, or to be able to struggle through the systems and menus that you don't like that much. For me, I love all of that, but I do feel like it's going to be a Horizon Zero Dawn to Horizon Forbidden West, where you're giving me everything I want. You're giving me all the upgrades. I don't even think it's going to be everything.
I don't think it's going to be that, because there's a clear I feel like there was more time between Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West.
For sure.
I feel like this is almost a whole year less in between sequels for God of War and God of War Ragnarok. Because Horizon came out a whole year before God of War, if I remember correctly.
It might have been more than that.
Actually, it came out. You know why? It's February. It was February because I remember I bought it and it came out right before the Switch came out. So it came out February of 2017. We got the sequel 2022.
Okay, yeah.
This comes out God of War 2018, and we're getting the sequel basically 4 years later.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like it's going to be way more iterative than even Horizon. I feel like even Horizon graphically is such a big step up from the first game.
Right.
I don't see that right now from God of War Ragnarok. I don't see this. It seems more like Uncharted 2 to Uncharted 3.
Yeah, I agree.
And might get
I don't think that's a bad thing, though. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because it looks great.
But I think for people like you who are saying this looks more iterative, that is going to be a problem. Because that adds to the iterativeness. It looks the same. The combat's the same. Yeah, it's I can see that. For me, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, my expectations for this game are, I'm probably going to give it an 8 out of 10. That's my expectations. If this game is an 8 out of 10, it's going to do its job.
It's good enough, right?
Am I going to buy it day one? I do have money on my PlayStation account that it's having used. So it has to go to something. So maybe I thought about picking up Last of Us Part 1, didn't do it, didn't pull that trigger. Really thought about it though, because that game looks pretty. Like
Don't do it, Thomas. Don't do it.
I will say, like, I stopped by my friend's house. He picked it up because Last of Us is his favorite game. And he has the OLED LG C1. Had that thing playing. I was like,
oh, looks nice.
That's probably the nicest I've ever seen.
You had it in your Amazon cart, in your PlayStation cart, being like, oh, I need it.
I didn't get that far. No, I didn't get that far. But I was very much visually impressed by that. But I didn't spend my money on that. Will I spend my money on God of War Ragnarok?
There's a higher chance probably because it's new.
I think I will. I'm pretty sure I will. But because the thing, I know it's going to review well. Like like I anticipate 10s out of 10s and anticipate 9s out of 10s. Like, because why not?
I mean, it's a Sony Monica. So Santa Monica game.
The one thing I've seen about reviewers, like, they don't care about like things being iterative. Like, they'll give 9 out of 10s to pretty much anything that like plays well.
I mean, it depends.
Like Uncharted 2 to Uncharted 3, for example. Like that's the same game pretty much, besides like the story's different. But that's the same exact game. Like, I love Uncharted 2 and 3, but those are the same game. Like I honestly couldn't think of any like improvements gameplay wise that Uncharted 3 made.
I mean, well, I gotta stop you there because it did have improvements. They did implement the fighting system, like the hand-to-hand combat system was much better, because with the first, you gotta remember, Uncharted 3 was the first time that they implemented hand-to-hand combat. They just got with the environment. That wasn't a thing before that.
They just got combat systems right in Last of Us Part 2. Before that, I consider all the combat systems.
Okay, but you can't say you weren't impressed when that happened, because that was the first game that did
what that. Because I remember we were fighting and Nate was in the tuxedo and they were like trying to highlight, like we got a new combat system. It's like, all right, like
I'm talking about the bar scene in Uncharted 3.
I'm saying Uncharted 3, that's where like the first thing the first time they introduced that melee system, like I don't know what the plot reasons were, but Nate and Sully were in like little tuxedos.
Yeah, they were in a bar fight. I think they were in tuxedo, but it was a bar fight.
But it's like, regardless, but you get what I'm saying, though.
I do, but
those games are pretty much the same game.
Right.
And both of those games got 10 out of 10s from most publications.
Big but. There's a difference in those, because that game is not just an action adventure. You are playing Uncharted in a game like that for a story. It's a narrative-driven game. So you can't not look at the narrative and not include that as part of the score, because that's why a lot of people are playing it, because the story is so good. Whereas a lot of other games, besides Sony games, the narrative is usually hit or miss, right? It's not that good, it's fine. But for narrative games, like Sony's games are on another level. So that has to be in the score somewhat. That would be my argument to it. But I do get your point. You have like
I don't think games get dinged. Games don't get dinged for being very similar to their predecessors. Like I don't think that really happens.
Right.
So I anticipate this game.
I feel like they do, in that they won't be like a 10 out of 10 because of that.
I don't know. I remember Uncharted 2 got like a 9 out of 10 from IGN. They got a 10 out of 10 for Uncharted 3. It's like I don't think like, and I know
that was wrong of them. That was wrong of them.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. But
I would probably give it maybe a 9 out of 10, but I digress.
But like, I just feel that there's no way, like, this game is definitely going to be at least like probably a 90 on Metacritic. Like, I feel like that, it's crazy to say, but I think that is the floor for it. Like, I think 90 is the floor, and then we'll see how high it gets.
But I think that's also a testament to the studio itself and what they've been able to create with world building. Like you said, 2018's world building for God of War was amazing. And if they keep on that same level, like you said, their floor is a 90s in terms of Metacritic.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be a success, but at the same time, like, it just depends on how. Like, I just don't see it doing the same as like the same impact as God of War 2018.
and
I don't
turning
see
heads like it
that because
used
that'd be
to.
impossible. I feel like that'd be next to impossible.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I agree.
But I mean, hell, this studio has a history of releasing like those old God of War games. I know it's a different like team, of course, like different people there, but they released 3 straight God of War games that pretty much had the exact same combat. I know because I beat all of them.
But that said, something kept you coming back though.
Those all got like 90s on Metacritic. Like they
Mhm.
all were like, and no matter what, it didn't matter. It didn't
Right.
like
But you
yes,
enjoyed them though,
I did. I
to the
did.
point where
And
you kept playing them.
I'm probably gonna enjoy this one.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna have a great time with this regardless, especially based on the gameplay that we've seen of it. It is impressive. It does look great. It looks amazing. It looks fun. But how much of that is just gonna be like a repeat? I do think that 4 years, it's been 4 years since I've played God of War, and I think that is enough time to be like, "Oh, this is really, really fun," for me to forget, "Oh, is it exactly like 2018's combat system?" If you don't, like, play it directly one after another, maybe that's enough for you to be like, "Oh, this is amazing. This is like a 10 out of 10." But maybe if you do play them back to back, you won't feel the same.
I'm just struck at how it doesn't impress me visually. Like it is
You don't
not,
think it looks good?
and I didn't say all that. It doesn't impress me. Like I've been impressed by a lot of the games I've seen on PlayStation 5.
Mhm.
This is one where I look at it and I'm like, this legit looks like the PlayStation 4 game.
What? To be fair, I'm looking at it on like a 1080p monitor. So for a lot of my stuff, I have to like on my PlayStation, it does look a lot different because I have it on my 4K monitor. It has HDR, all of that. So I think it looks good based on what I'm seeing, and it's not even on that monitor yet.
Like it
So
doesn't look as good as like I'll list PlayStation games. It don't look as good as Last of Us Part 2. It doesn't look
yeah,
as
yeah.
good as Ghost of Tsushima. It doesn't look as good as Demon Souls. It doesn't look as good as Horizon Forbidden West.
Actually, I haven't played Demon Souls.
Demon
Yeah,
Souls looks incredible.
I would agree in all of those.
And that to me is a little disappointing. It's not a deal breaker, but it's definitely like a little disappointing where I thought this, because I feel like God of War PlayStation 4 was one of those titles that really pushed the PS4.
Right. It looked great.
And God of War PS4 looks amazing on PS5 as well.
Mm-hmm.
It runs at 4K 60. It looks incredible. So I'm assuming this is going to look really nice, but I don't think it's going to be, I don't even think it's going to be as, in terms of visually, look as good as like Last of Us Remake.
Yeah, I mean, Naughty Dog is like on another level. So who knows when it comes to that. But I do think I'm not expecting like a jaw dropper because even the first one, I don't remember me going, "Wow, this looks incredibly amazing" or anything like that.
There were definitely a couple moments for me.
There were a couple moments, but it wasn't the whole game, kind of like how Last of Us Part 2 was for me. I was like, wow, if I look at this any angle, it looks amazing. But God of War never felt like that to me because it was more, fast paced, less about characters. I mean, to an extent, but you get what I'm saying. I guess I'm not really looking for the graphics in God of War. I'm looking more for the combat in terms of the sequel, and I think it will deliver that.
I think it will too. Speaking of delivering, Xbox is about to deliver their brand new family plan for Game Pass. It's because they know they got to get that. They got to get the families involved. They're trying to branch out. When I saw this news, I said that I'm surprised that has not already happened.
Right. I mean, it technically has because they're already testing it in 2 different countries, Colombia and Ireland. And the basic pricing for it is that in euros, it's basically for regular, it would be $12.99 in euros or pounds. I can't remember. And then it's $21.99 for in the same currency. So it's about $10 a month. Yeah. So it's about $10 a month. And I can look up how many maximum people are on the family plan. But I mean, it's a pretty good deal because if you have like 3 people on there, that's well worth it. You each pay $7. It's kind of like the same thing as how people share Netflix accounts.
Right.
You get you get the family plan for Netflix, and then you can each pay lower. Same thing for Spotify, all of that. I have it for Spotify. Well worth it. But yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer at this point for both the gamers and Microsoft, because they're already breaking in how many millions of subscribers every single month, just paying single digits. Like what? I think they said like 25 million, which is a ridiculously crazy amount. And now with his family plan, they get to charge even more. So no brainer.
They're killing it. They're killing it. I mean, I think it's a good move. I think that they're in the selling Game Pass business as opposed to selling consoles business. They sell consoles, they do that, but their main primary focus is we want every household to have Game Pass. And I feel making a family plan makes that decision a lot easier for a lot of families who, if let's say you're like a mother and father with 4 kids and they're all gamers,
you could
get the family individually Game Pass for each one of them. That adds up, especially if the dad and mom like the game too. That's a lot. But if you have a family plan for that, it's so much savings. And for Xbox, that family might not even got Game Pass at all. So it helps Xbox, helps the families. I mean, I don't see a negative aspect to this.
Yeah, and I just confirmed that you can, for the friends and family plan, it is 5 people max. So good bit of people can use this plan, and that if you do,
so everybody can put their username in. Like
they sure can, and then it'll basically be $4 per person. So
I wonder how many people are going to be selling their extra slots.
I was about to say, Thomas, maybe we should think about this.
The Dukes of Gaming Pass. The Dukes of Game Pass. How about that? The Dukes of Game Pass. But
I mean, I think every Duke has it, aside from maybe one. So we'll talk. But it sounds like a really good idea, and apparently it's going really well in the 2 countries that they currently have it. So no brainer for everyone involved.
If only there were some new games coming next.
Hey, Tinykins. Everyone play Tinykins. Next month we get a Plague's Tale sequel. There's games coming up.
Since this topic went short, I want to bring something up because there is another game that I played this week. I forgot about it, so we just brought up Game Pass.
What game?
There's this game called Immortality.
You played that, have you?
I played. I forgot because it was almost like a fever dream. It's like honestly because I was in a really long meeting at work that I didn't have to participate in, but I had to be on.
You were like, let me play a video game.
But I need to play something where I'm not.
Video game.
I need to play something where my attention is not like I can kind of split my time. I don't have to actively like play this. And essentially, the game is you are in the role of like a film editor, and there are these 3 movies and the backstage of each movies, and it's with the same actress, and the actress has been murdered, and you're supposed to piece together like how she was murdered based on the movies and based on the back, like the
footage, right?
Footage behind the scenes. Behind the scenes.
It's basically the same concept as like Telling Lies and all.
It's made by the same person,
right? Exactly.
It's made by I think Her Story. I think that's another one he made. Yeah. So I never played any of those games, so I didn't know what to expect. I really like this game, and I want to bring it up because Xbox says, for all intents and purposes, this is one of the worst years in terms of releasing games the Xbox has ever had. Like, this is bad. It is bad in terms of the releases. But they're releasing these. Yeah, they're releasing these little. They have these little games like Immortality
and Tinykins.
And Tinykins, right? It's like I don't think that it means that I can say they had a good year because I can't name any games that have come up from the first party.
I would definitely say they have had a great year.
A great year.
Great year. Just because of Game Pass. But that's another conversation. Go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, Game Pass has been fine like for the past 3 years. I can't just give them a mulligan every year just because they have Game Pass.
I think you can, actually. I think you can.
Like, I can't give Netflix a mulligan every single year because Netflix is cool.
Well, yeah, but you have other
options.
If
you don't release anything, it's like I can't.
I mean, you have other options with Netflix, though, right? Because you have your Paramount,
Well, you have another
HBO.
option now with PlayStation Plus.
Okay, but it's not the same. Yeah, and Xbox is doing it better.
I mean, yeah,
Just
but
is
it's like
way
they
better.
are, but they've been around longer. And the aspect that I can't shake is they have not released a first party game. Like that
Yeah,
is like,
and I
to
don't
me
think they
that
have to.
I think that I feel like you cannot do that for more than a year. Like this is the only they are lucky they had the end of the year they had last year. We'll get to some of the ramifications of some of last year's games later, or our last topic. But I just don't think you can just go like not release games. And because I mean, that's not getting you in front of PlayStation in terms of like the mind share, because that's really what matters.
I mean, they're playing two different games, right? Xbox is playing like chess, PlayStation is playing checkers. They're playing two different games at this point. Xbox is ranking in the money with Game Pass, PlayStation is ranking in the money with their exclusives. Xbox, to me,
but it's also
they get a pass
mind share,
because
but it's also mind share as well. Like we know the majority of people want a PS5 as opposed to an Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
And that to me, you're not changing that by not releasing games.
But
that's
because they're making so much just on Game Pass alone, I don't think they care anymore. Right? They're doing the family plan to get more people on there. They have more than 25 million subscribers, each paying $10 up. Like they're making money, and not only that,
but they've always made money though. It's right. I feel like that the money thing doesn't really matter because they've been making money. Like they're Microsoft.
Yeah, they are making money, but I think they're also
and they have been doing Game Pass since what 2017 or 2018.
Yeah, somewhere around there. That sounds right.
I would expect it to make money after 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but
so I can't just give them a mulligan because the service you launched 5 years ago is profitable. Like I'm like okay.
Yeah, but it's not just profitable. It's the best.
It's the only thing besides PlayStation Plus.
Right, but
it's not really
it's not just the only thing. It's actually good, Thomas. They are releasing quality games.
Except for their first party studios that because they don't have any because think it does because if you think about the like Nintendo and Sony this year, both of those them have been released really great first party titles this year.
Right, and but also none of those are must plays though. I can't name a single exclusive that's come out this year.
Horizon I feel like Horizon is a must play.
I would disagree.
Alfredo, your version of a must play is Final Fantasy Strangers of Paradise. So I'll rest my case with that. I will rest my case.
But
I went there.
Like I said, it's quality. It's quality. And I think that they have my respect for it. It's quality games for a price that you cannot beat. It's unparalleled value.
Well,
and they should be reward or a praise or whatever for that.
I started this by saying that I was playing Immortality, and I think that's a really solid game. I'm glad they came to Game Pass. That's what they've been banking on for this year. All I'm saying is you can't do that 2 years straight. Not in this gaming market. Not when you're the top game that you were banking, like your top first party game you were banking was gonna like be one of the number one games in the world did not pan out that way. But we will get to that in a second.
Fair.
Before we get there, let's talk a little bit about Assassin's Creed. Now, I'm not the biggest Assassin's Creed guy. I don't think Alfredo is either.
Yeah, I like it. They're just a little bit. Their worlds are huge now, right?
Yeah, they're basically like Skyrim.
Yeah, exactly. Every single one of them.
And I think that they said that the new one is going to go back to basics.
Yep. Exactly. Assassin's Creed Mirage has been announced. And what happened was actually it was leaked. And then a day later, they just decided to say, okay, yeah, it's actually a thing. It's called Assassin's Creed Mirage. And we're going to talk more about it at Ubisoft Forward. That is happening on September 10th, which is going to be this upcoming weekend, actually. So it won't be long before we get to hear more about it. But the only thing that the internet has speculated right now is that it will have a returning character, Basim, which was who was from Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And basically, people are assuming that based on the clothing, the stripes that the particular characters that they showed, their hooded figure and everything, but they have like, I think it's like red and blue specific symbols or specific colors, which is the same exact patterning and colors as the main character in Valhalla. So they think it's going to be, Ubisoft has said that this is going to be, like Thomas said, a shorter, more concise story that goes back to the basics of Assassin's Creed. Some people have also been saying, okay, is this like going to be a reboot of some sort where instead of this 120-hour campaign, we're getting how much was the first game? Like 10 hours,
like
15 hours?
Like 7 hours.
Okay, yeah, something like that. And it's going to focus specifically on stealth is what they said. So that actually does excite me because like Thomas was saying, he's not a fan of it. I'm not that much of a fan of it just because it has gotten so big. So I'm really excited to go back to a 10-hour Assassin's Creed experience and really get to dive into that.
I don't want to be negative.
Oh, God.
I think it's time.
Don't say what you said about Saints Row.
So I don't think it's time to put it in the grave, but I think it's time to take it to the funeral home to show it what can happen.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what's your proposition?
My proposition is we need to not release Assassin's Creed for 3 years. You need to take
Isn't that what they did though?
No, I feel like it has, like Valhalla was the last one. Valhalla came out 2020.
It's been 2 years. It might be 3 years by the time that this one comes out. We don't know if it's coming. It's not coming this year. I would be shocked if it was. So there you go. 3 years.
I feel like you need to take 3 more years.
Well, you can't switch the goal like that. You just said.
I move goalposts with the best of them, Alfredo.
Oh
but no, fair point. It doesn't feel like Valhalla came out 2 years ago. Valhalla, it felt like Valhalla came out like a year ago.
Yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, the consoles don't feel like they came out 2 years ago either. So that's probably why. I mean, I think that's a good like step in the right direction to kind of scale things back from the bloated mess that was the trilogy, I call it, of Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. Like people love those games. So I'm not trying to like shit on them. I played maybe in total 10 hours of them. So I understand like, why people like it. But I think that this is a step in the right direction. Because I feel like this series was at its prime during like the Assassin's Creed 2.
Yep,
like from the Ezio collection, I feel really encapsulates the best of Assassin's Creed, I feel. And so I think getting back to that would be preferable. At the same time, I wish it went away for a little longer. Because it doesn't feel, even though it's been 3 years, it just doesn't feel that way to me. It feels like we need a little bit more time in between.
Well, you know what?
To make people miss it,
The good news is that not only are you going to get this one, but we know that Assassin's Creed Infinity is also coming out soon afterward. We don't know when, but remember, if you heard, Infinity is going to be their live service Assassin's Creed game. So like a Fortnite, if you will. So we don't know exactly what that will look like. Maybe we'll see that at Ubisoft Forward in 5 days, but I'd be shocked if we would see both of them in some regard. Definitely going to see Mirage, and I'm super excited because, I don't know, it gives me more vibes of Splinter Cell kind of stealth instead of being an open world, like, oh, now these assassins have magical powers, which they literally do in like Odyssey and Valhalla now. So I'm excited for it to go back to basics, exactly like you are. I do see your point though, Thomas, and I feel like I would be on the same wavelength as you if it wasn't for the fact that they're saying, okay, we're not going to do another Assassin's Creed open world 160-hour, 200-hour game. But now they're saying, okay, we're going to do like a 10-hour game 3 years later. I feel like that's like a really, really good call. So I'm excited for them to go back to the basics, go back to what I thought was like peak Assassin's Creed, because that will actually bring a returning player of that series or a returning fan back to the series for me. As it is now, these open worlds are just too big for me to make such a massive time commitment, and they really don't feel like stealth games anymore, which is why I like them in the first place. Or assassin games, like they didn't feel like you were
can't
an
assassinate
assassin.
people anymore,
Right? No, you would just be fighting people. I mean, and the combat system was okay, but it felt more like, I guess, an Arkham Knight with swords as opposed to like an assassin game. So I'm excited.
And to your comment about free to play Assassin's Creed, yippee. sounds great.
maybe you'll be more excited when you hear more about it. Hopefully in 5 days.
I will, unlike this cup right here, I'll maybe keep my glass half full. How about that? Let's get to Cole's mail bag. Now, Cole is not here due to technical difficulties.
He's listening though.
He's listening though. And I will take the role of Cole. I did not mean for that to rhyme. And I will read our mailbag from our dear fan, You Mad Bro. This question is specifically for Thomas. You voted for Halo Infinite to be one of the top games of 2021. For all the negative press the game has received over the past year, I have one question for you. You mad, bro? I am mad, bro. I am.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
I'm pretty upset. I'm pretty upset. Do you mind, Alfredo, if I go on like a little small?
Go ahead. I do want to let's preface this a little. He's probably mad, I'm assuming, due to the fact that he's finally getting the Forge mode, the like very highly anticipated mode for Halo Infinite. But they did also announce that they are completely canceling Halo Infinite split screen. So, all right, go ahead. The floor is yours, Thomas. Go ahead.
So, I want to start by reading a comment from the head of 343, Miss Bonnie Ross.
Not the facts.
Miss Bonnie Ross said, "We will not ship a Halo game without local co-op ever again." She said this in response to Halo 5 not having local co-op. Fast forward nearly 8 years after that, and we are being told now that there will be no co-op. Now, I'm all for the developers. I am, if I understand that crunch is real. I understand that people have families. So I don't want to place any of this on the developers at 343 Industries. There are a lot of great people there, I'm told. People working hard, trying to create the best Halo game they possibly can. This does not fall on any of them. This falls on management.
Miss Bonnie Ross.
And co and all the other executives there. What's going on? Forge mode was supposed to be there day one.
It's coming in November.
That would be a literal year after the launch of this game. And honestly, I've never been the biggest, I wasn't the biggest Halo fan back in the day. So I don't really have a really big history of Forge. So that being delayed as much as it has really hasn't affected me. So I'm speaking more so like that's disappointing, but that doesn't really affect me. Local co-op affects me though. And I understand why it's so hard to implement, which is from day one, I was like, we're going to get co-op in this? Because even like co-op in the old Halo games, like, because I read Reddit a lot and people are like, well, if they could do it in Halo 1, 2, and 3, why can't you just do it in Halo Infinite? And the simple answer to that is Halo Infinite is an open world game, and those Halo games were linear mission based shooters.
Mm-hmm.
So doing split screen co-op for that requires a lot less work than split screen co-op for an open world game. I, truth be told, Alfredo, couldn't name you a game, an open world game that has split screen co-op. I
An
was really
open
trying to think about
world.
it. I can't. I
Yeah.
tried. Like Far Cry doesn't have it. Like none
Wait,
of
they
those.
don't?
No,
Far
not
Cry
split.
5 has
No,
it?
I don't think that's split screen co-op.
Oh, okay. Split screen. Yeah. I'm sure there is
Because
one.
because that's not canceled. The actual co-op is not canceled. I actually tried that because I'm a Halo insider, and so me and my friend, he's a Halo player as well.
Mhm.
They released the co-op beta, so me and him played it. It was terrible. It was horrible.
Wait, why was it bad? You couldn't
So
untether from each other far enough? Is that why?
No, it was even worse than that. So
Okay.
the first 2 missions of Halo Infinite are not an open world. It's in like it's almost like kind of how Halo, the original Halo series is, where it's kind of like a mission-based shooter levels. And when we tried to advance the plot we had to press a button, it literally would hard lock us and we couldn't get past. So we never even got to play the open world version of Halo Infinite's co-op.
Oh, they just were like, this part is not ready. Is that what they did?
Either that or our version just wasn't, or the whatever ones we downloaded were not working well. But
technically it's not released yet, right?
No, it was in beta. But God, like God, I understand like things cannot work if they're in beta, but God, I can't even play the open world part of this co-op. The whole reason why I wanted to play co-op, so we can talk about the battle pass and how that has kind of been a mistake. We can talk about just not a lot of content. Season 3 has been delayed till March of next year. This was supposed to be the game, and this is why I say Xbox had a terrible year as far as the game goes, because I think Xbox knew they were going to have a horrible year, but I think they thought Halo was going to be a lot bigger and it would be more farther along in terms of what they're releasing. I think they thought they would be a little farther along than it is now. And right now, Halo is dying. It's dying a very, 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 very small, slow death. And it's so it's unbelievable to me because this is the most expensive game in gaming history. So much money. Yeah, so much money was invested in this game. And at the end of the day, the game should still be unreleased.
My question to you, Thomas, as someone, you still play this game, right?
I mean, I haven't played in the past 3 weeks, but I still consider myself a Halo player.
Well, do you think that even with the cancellation, even with the season 3 being delayed, all of this, do you still think that at this point Halo Infinite can still make a comeback?
No.
Why?
Well, one, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 comes out in 2 months. So that's going to take up the lion's share of the multiplayer arena shooter landscape. It already is competing with Fortnite. It's already competing with Apex. It's already competing with Warzone. It's not exceeding any of those in any fashion. Falling quite behind, actually. Probably behind Overwatch at this point. There's no comeback for this. It's a free-to-play game for sure, like the other ones. But I do think there is this like thought that, because I mean, Call of Duty, for example, comes out on PlayStation as well.
Right.
So that's a lot of people able to being added to those numbers playing Warzone. Fortnite's on everything. Apex is on most things. Halo's just on Xbox and PC. So you're already limiting the amount of people that are going to be playing this game just by that alone. And then even that, people are still not flocking to it. I would argue Forza has had better post-release content than Halo has.
Yeah, I mean, even as somebody who isn't in the, in the, I guess of whatever Halo Infinite is doing, I'm shocked too, kind of how Xbox has fumbled their Halo Infinite releasing content and everything, it seems like every step of the way something is wrong. First, they were like, "Oh, we're only going to release the multiplayer instead of the single player." Then everything's getting delayed. Then we're not going to like promote things with tournaments. I feel like there were so many things that they could have done to promote Halo Infinite's multiplayer specifically that they just didn't do. I don't see it like on Twitch being like sponsored and like them having big sponsorship games like they normally do for, I don't know, Fortnite, for Apex. Like there was no huge marketing campaign for this game to let people know that Halo Infinite is back. You should be playing this game because it's amazing. So yeah, it's a fumble for sure.
I've had a lot of time to think about it, and my most me at my most pessimistic, I feel knows what's going on.
Do tell.
Xbox made a big purchase this year.
Right.
Bought Activision. Still waiting to get everything clear. We all expect pretty much that it's going to get done at some point because these mergers usually always happen.
Right. Then
Halo is no longer the big fish in Xbox's fish tank anymore. That's Call of Duty now. And I believe that they knew that Halo is not going to be able to lead them into the next like it's not going to be that big fish anymore. No matter what, you're never going to see like Halo 3 numbers ever again. You're never going to see Halo 2 numbers ever again. Like that was when it was breaking records. It's not going to do that anymore for any release. And so I think that they look at it as, if we invest, because I'm sure if they wanted to, they could get this game to where it needs to be. I think it's a lack of want to.
Because then it would be competing against themselves.
I don't even think that's really the problem. I don't even think it's a matter of them competing against themselves. It's that why do it when we have Modern Warfare 2 releasing this year?
Right.
Like why? Like what's the point? Like no matter what we do, we're not going to get players back. Like at the end of the day, like Halo is never like, to me, this was, and it's crazy because I've played through all the Halo games at this point. This is the best Halo game that 343's ever made in terms of gameplay. They have struggled every step of the way with this franchise. They struggle with Halo 4. Even though Halo 4 I feel is a good game, Halo 4 in terms of the multiplayer tried to add a whole bunch of like Call of Duty stuff, kill streaks, and people didn't like that. Halo Master Chief Collection, I remember when that launched. It was known as a horrible launch.
Yeah. Like, it sure was.
Halo 5 had pretty much false advertising, making it seem like you're going to be hunting Master Chief, and that is not what happened in that game at all. Like, I can't think of something that was. I'm surprised they didn't get sued by somebody because that's not what happened. We were not searching Master. Yeah, like that game was not received well, and we have this game that is the best one that they ever made, but it's not ready.
Which is crazy because this game has been in development for how long? And they did delay it a ton before they actually released it.
Yeah, God knows what this game looked like in 2020.
Right.
God knows.
Well, we saw screenshots. Remember when
we saw the video? I'm not gonna lie, Fredo. I liked it. I'll never forget. Yes, I've heard it. When I saw that video, I watched that video without seeing any comments on YouTube. I think that's when the like and dislike button first got taken off. So I think I didn't even see that. And I came up, I was like, oh, I want Xbox Series X.
You're like, this is good.
Yeah. And then when I noticed, I was like, wait, people are hating it? Oh. Like, that shocked me, But I mean, looking back on it, it makes sense. It did graphically look very dated.
Yeah, it was basically Sonic. The same thing that happened with Sonic the Hedgehog.
So they took a year. Nope.
They had to pull it.
And it's almost like they took a year and they literally just increased the graphics. They didn't add anything else. It's just the lack of transparency that gets me. That really is the fundamental like part of it for me that really sucks. The lack of transparency. Like, if you were going to have co-op ready, Well,
Why say that you will?
hell, why don't you poll? Why don't you poll the Halo fans and ask, would you prefer the game to still be released without co-op? You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but like just inquire. Because there are a good amount of people that would have said, I'll wait. Like if it's gonna take another year to get it to where it needs to be, sure. But the problem is Xbox has shareholders and they had no games on the docket. And they knew they had no games on the docket. That's why I said it's a horrible year, Alfredo, because they had no games on the docket for this year. So they knew there's no way they could go another year without releasing this game. Because they knew they didn't have another game that's even gonna do anything for like, I guess, zeitgeist purposes.
Numbers.
Yeah, right. Well, they have numbers because I mean it's all on Game Pass, so their numbers don't matter as much. But they knew there's not a Horizon, there's not a Ghost of Tsushima. Like Halo is on that tier in terms of like, yeah, that game's gonna come out and it's gonna take over the conversation for at least a couple weeks,
right?
And it did that at the time. It got I liked it. It's one of my games of the year of last year. Excuse me, but at the same time, if you ask me now, like, should it have been delayed till probably sometime next year, Nick? I'd probably say yeah. Because this is unacceptable. Like, you are pissing off the people who really aren't into Halo, that are into like Battle Pass games, and you're pissing off the Halo faithful. You're pissing off everybody at one time. And it leads to essentially one of the most disappointing post-release like time roadmaps I've ever seen.
You know what this is like, actually? The more you talk about this, about like pissing off your fan base for people who like really believe in this property and, you know, they would have waited for it. I feel like this is actually what is happening for one of Sony's games. The Last of Us Factions. That fan base, I'm a part of it, is very rabid. We know what we want. We want more factions. We have been waiting for it for years. They said that it would release at a specific time with Last of Us Part 2. It hasn't. We haven't had much information. They gave us a screenshot, for God's sake, of, oh, we're working on this after like 3 years of radio silence. It's just been ridiculous. But we don't have a situation where they give us the game ahead of time and then it's not what we want. They're not releasing, you know, this battle pass and then deleting specific sections of the game when we expect it to be all in full, right? So we're mad about it right now that we don't have this game that we have been rabid for. But Sony, or I guess Naughty Dog, is saying, hey, it'll be ready when it's ready, and we're not telling you anything. I guess so that we don't have a Halo Infinite situation, so that it comes out and it is amazing. It is able to succeed and live alongside a Fortnite, live alongside, you know, all of these other live service games and succeed. So as much as I hate not still being able to play Last of Us Part 2 Factions, at least I'm not a Halo Infinite fanboy who's just entirely angry about this entire situation and how they handled it, because it, you know, they could do it one of two ways. They could come out with it and then have it be kind of a mess, or they can say, hey, just wait till it's ready, and then hopefully it will be a great situation where we love this game and it can thrive alongside those live service games.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good comparison. I mean, it's a tale of two studios, right? Naughty Dog would rather die of maggots eating their brains as opposed to releasing an incomplete game,
or a non-masterpiece, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love every single Naughty Dog game, but there is a level of quality control that's with every one of their games that 343 has lacked. 343 is not half the studio that Naughty Dog is. 343 has not made a critically well-received game yet.
But their employees probably are a lot happier, or don't experience crunch and all of that as well.
I'm pretty sure they experienced crunch when Halo launched. Like, I'm pretty sure that was reported, right? Like, there was a lot of crunch in the studio.
I think I did hear that.
Yeah,
You're right.
that happened. So there's crunch, and then there's no payoff for the crunch. At least when Rockstar is making people work 24-hour days, Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out. Like
Thomas is like, at least I get my product.
Right. And look, I didn't like I'm not even the biggest Red Dead Redemption 2 fan. It's just like, but there's something to be said. Like, if you're crunching and the game is shit, I feel like that's a different, it's like that's even more egregious. It's already egregious that people had to crunch, but you're crunching and it's not, because I put that on upper level, because that's not the developer's fault. The developers can only do what they're assigned to do. Like, upper management is the ones who is establishing the timelines.
Yeah.
What's going on? Why are these people not being replaced? Why are the same people? Apparently it's been the same people since the beginning. It's like, really? Like, we're not apparently Microsoft, as far as I've done research on this, Microsoft, in terms of a lot of the first party studios, utilize a lot of contractors as opposed to long-term workers.
Really? I didn't know that.
And 343 is a studio that was created by, it wasn't like they acquired 343. Like, they literally made 343 as a studio to make Halo games after Bungie left.
Right.
So they definitely are using a lot of contractors. And that can have a lot of pluses, but it has a lot of minuses too, from the standpoint of, you have a lot of contractors, people are coming in and out.
Right.
There's not that love for Halo. It's people doing the job. And, maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know what it is, but I fear Halo Infinite. It's a very big possibility to me that it might be the last Halo game for a while, for a very long time. Because I can't see them going away from, Halo games are supposed to last for a while. And so I don't see them revisiting this franchise for a while, because what's the point?
I could see them, I don't know, I could see them pulling an Assassin's Creed Mirage, where it comes back, but it's a smaller experience. They scale it down to missions based again, instead of being in whole open world. And, they really focus on just doing the single player story. I can see that. But
see, that's the tale of two Halo Infinites, right? Because I really, really, really love the campaign. I love that thing. It was like everything I've ever wanted a Far Cry game to be. I love how it was structured. I love that there's story there, to be sure, but I just love going around traversing with my grapple hook, swinging like I'm Spider-Man through this open world. There are things I wish it did better. I wish we had other biomes besides this one biome. There was a couple things I wish it did better, but overall, I really enjoyed that. So I would not want them to go away from that. Honestly, the actual game, that's the big thing. The actual game, there's nothing wrong. That's the thing. I feel like they literally made
the multiplayer.
But the thing is, the multiplayer is fun too. It's the only piece that is bad. It's the most important piece that keeps the game living is the battle pass, the seasons, and these promised modes that you said were supposed to be here already. And you outright cancel one of them after you have a statement out that says you will never ship another Halo game without local code. I can't believe that statement's out there. I couldn't believe it. I thought that was a troll. I had to do research. I was like, no way.
Bonnie said it. Bonnie said it.
No way you would say that, if you didn't mean it, that's crazy. That's like if that's like, we remember when Apple took away the home button.
No, I don't have Apple products.
You
I don't like Apple, remember?
I know, but you don't remember.
I think I do remember that, actually.
Yeah,
I think I remember you guys crying about it, and I'm like, you should have had an Android.
I didn't. I was not happy about that. I got used to it, but I wasn't happy about it. But that's like if they take away the home button, and then at the next Apple press conference, they say, we're never releasing another iPhone without a home button. Now here's the next iPhone with no home button, everybody. It's like why would you even say that? Because I can
But hey,
understand. You said what?
Thomas, but Matt, you don't miss the home button anymore, do you?
I honestly a little do. Because
Don't lie.
no, I
Don't
do because
lie.
there was like a muscle memory thing where I used to pick up my phone and my thumbs automatically on the home button and
Mhm.
unlocks. Now
But
it's
you
when
got
I'm
used to
laying
it,
down on my bed
right?
Alfred, I'm not gonna lie, like it is inconvenient where I gotta just like, you know, I like that is inconvenient as
Right.
opposed to me just putting my finger on. I do miss the home button.
But you got used to it, and now you accept that for progress, for the iPhones to survive, a home button is not necessary, and we
But
can't
see,
go
this
back
isn't
to home
But
button.
see, removing local co-op isn't progress. Like that's not
Hey, I'm just
You're not.
saying,
There's not a
devil's
solution. It's not like,
advocate.
oh, we're replacing local co-op with so and so. They're not
With
doing that.
online. With online.
No, no. The original promise was it's supposed to be both, and we're like, okay, we're only gonna do one now.
Right,
Even though we
right,
said we were never gonna ship a Halo game without it, we're gonna take it out.
right.
It's.
Look, I get it. I get it, Thomas. You're mad. You're mad
I'm
about
not
this.
mad. I'm disappointed.
If
Because
you
look,
say
will
so.
I
If
put
you say
Halo down? Will I put Halo down? Not yet. Not yet. But I am fully anticipating at some point they're going to drop support for this, which is crazy.
Mhm.
Because it for some reason it looks like Halo Master Chief Collection gets more
Love.
love added to it than even like Halo Infinite. Like I be seeing whenever I cut on Halo Master Chief Collection, they'll show like, oh, we have season 5 out, or you know, I'm like, we only got season 3 for Halo Infinite. Like, what's going on? Like, it is like I don't know what's going on at 343. I don't know if I need to come in and just like, like get my spreadsheet out. Like, hey, we need to delegate things a little better. But I am not a happy camper. Not outright. I don't hate Halo Infinite. It's still one of my games of the year 2021. But God, yo, God.
They need to do better.
Hell, I forgot Overwatch 2 is coming out. Like,
Yeah, next
it's
month.
not to be like like we might get to like a couple thousand players. Like I'm worried. I'm worried. Like the day I'm gonna worry is when I'm sitting in the lobby for 2 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, there's nobody online right now. Like,
It's gotta come, Thomas, and unfortunately, based on what I'm hearing and how they're treated the situation so far, it's coming sooner than you think.
well, two, you're mad, bro. Am I mad? I am mad,
He
bro.
is. He is. He's real mad. Real
Hopefully,
salty,
I'm
real mad.
Hopefully, I'm less mad next week, but we'll get to that next week. For now, I want to thank everybody for listening and watching the Dukes of Gaming podcast. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast service. Watch us on YouTube. Watch us live on Twitch. You can even email us at therealdukesofgaming@gmail.com. Just like your Mad Bro did. Have your question
You're
read
mad,
live
bro.
on.
89.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, you're mad. So just like he did, you can email us and you'll have your question read live on air. We'll be coming at you next week with some more hot takes. Till then, you've been watching the Dukes of Gaming. And with all that being said, I bid thee farewell.